You've just tapped into the brain of successful online bookseller Adam Bertram. Whether you're selling books on Amazon, eBay, Alibris, or Abe Books, Adam shares his out-of-the-box thinking and completely transparent advice to help you achieve your sales goals in record time. Let's listen in now to hear the latest super helpful yet down-to-earth blog post posted on the only blog for successful online booksellers at sellyourbooksonline.com.
How I overcame my shortage of inventory. It's great to finally write a post again. You'll notice that I've had many more guest posts than usual lately. This is because I've been so busy with new book-selling ventures, I've rarely had time to work on writing posts, continuing to write my inventory sourcing ebook, or look into new ways to present great content about selling books online. I apologize for my lack of presence as of late, but unfortunately it looks like the break will be short-lived. If anyone has a desire to write some guest posts for this blog, please send a post my way at questions@sellyourbooksonline.com. I'd be happy to include a link to your bookstore or another site you'd like to promote. Also, I've begun casually thinking of bringing on a blog manager to write posts and add content. This would be a paid position in a portion of my monthly revenue. If you're interested in more information about this position, please email me as well. For this week's post, I wanted to first give an update on me and my business, as well as share a few tips that I've seen proven to be very beneficial here as of late. For the huge majority of my inventory, I have a source, soon to be revealed in the inventory sourcing ebook, that I've depended on for almost 2 years now. This source provided me with huge quantities of books every month or so and was very dependable. Due to the regularity that I was receiving books, I never looked into other sources. I got an email a few weeks ago from my main contact that their source for a large chunk of their books has dried up and they no longer had near the quantity that they had. This news couldn't have come at a worse time for me. This was the time when I hadn't received many books at all and was coming down to the last few Gaylords. It was pretty disheartening to get this email since I had absolutely zero other sources lined up. Tip number 1. Diversify your sources. If I would have been outsourcing for other potential sources, this email wouldn't have been such a blow. If you put all your eggs in one basket, what happens when the basket falls? Needless to say, I was stuck and was forced to begin scouring for another source. The only good aspect of this situation was that I finally had both garages empty and was able to clean in places that hadn't been cleaned in years. Tip number 2. Write all your ideas down immediately. Once I got over the initial shock of a nearly 60% cut in incoming inventory, I began looking back through all of the ideas I had recorded in Toodledoo. For anyone not familiar with this product, it has been a lifesaver for me to keep all my projects, notes, and tasks straight. I've gotten into the habit of immediately recording all my thoughts about improving my business immediately into my phone. This has helped me tremendously, especially in times like this when I know I had recorded some ideas I had for other book sources. As I was browsing through all my ideas, I immediately set out to contact a few places. I got a few responses back, but nothing of any major interest. This was until I decided to follow up on an idea that I had acted upon nearly 6 months earlier, a large local thrift store. Tip number 3, always get to know people. When I first started my business, I met with a small business advisor at my local Chamber of Commerce for help in what it takes to start a business. The meeting went pretty well and thought that was the last time I would probably ever see the gentleman that I had met with again. However, once I got to searching on the thrift store's local site, I immediately found that he was on the board of directors. Woohoo! Now I have a potential warm contact for him to introduce me to whoever is in charge of the books at Goodwill. To make a long story short, he directed me to the director of operations. I was then told by this lady they were actually starting to sell the books themselves. Dope. Would you consider this a huge setback or an opportunity? Tip number 4, Karma is real. Give and you shall receive. Since I always like to help other online booksellers, I asked a little bit about how they're processing all those books. During the conversation, she mentioned they were using Monsoon, and luck be it, this is the application I use as well that I've become very accustomed to. I offered to help in any way that I could, since they were just starting, and she gladly accepted. A few emails later, I was discussing selling books in a large thrift store warehouse in front of a few computers running Monsoon. This obviously was not benefiting me at all because she had told me they were pre-scanning all the books. However, I still enjoyed sharing lessons learned along the way and was expecting nothing in return. Tip number 5. Take the risk if you've done your homework. A few months passed and I thought nothing of the meeting, but lo and behold, I found out they were now up and running. They had gone through 41 gaylords of books already and were looking for a buyer. The big guys, of course, were chomping at the bit to get them, a la Better World Books and Thrift Books, but I was being given the opportunity to purchase them as well. Sweet. It was cool that the time I had taken to offer a little help was coming back as good karma. The bad news was that I had to lay down $3,000 for this load. Whoa. This would be, by far, the biggest upfront investment at once I had ever made in inventory. However, this load ended up being around 40,000 books. Knowing that they had been pre-scanned led me to believe I wasn't going to make big money off singles, but the quantity outweighed the negatives here, so I jumped at it. I ended up shelling out 3,000 big ones in cash and making 4 trips back and forth with a large truck. I was able to fit them all in my garages, and my helpers and I got to work immediately. I'm now $3,000 poor, but I'm busting at the seams with books. To be a successful business owner, you have to take risks. If I refused to spend that kind of money, I'd still be struggling to find more books, and also know one less person to be able to supply me more books in the future. Don't let potential risks set you back. I'm going to try to share more real-world posts like this relating to my business in the future. Whenever I was first starting out, I loved to read personal stories from other like-minded booksellers, and still do. I think it's very important to hear different viewpoints on topics and to hear what works and what doesn't. If you have any ideas for further topics, please let me know in the comments section.
Thanks for listening to the latest topic about online bookselling. If you're interested in this topic or the hundreds of other topics about going into business for yourself from selling books on the internet, please visit sellyourbooksonline.com. This is where you can get exclusive videos, learn from other sellers, and a whole lot more. Until next time, folks, remember to always take action and think different.